They heard a really charming, affable guy who was well prepared.
I can't believe that this guy may be the mayor.
Hey everyone, I'm Haley. I study strategic communications. Let's sharpen our media literacy skills together. This is how to push back. The way the two major networks are talking about Zohran Mamdani today reveals more than just party bias. It shows how political identity is framed through tone, fear, and strategic silence. It's really a story about what we're allowed to imagine as normal in American politics and what happens when someone challenges that.
I can't believe that this guy may be the mayor. This is one of the worst, scariest candidates. He calls himself a democratic socialist. He's not. He's a socialist. He's closer to a communist. He said it. He's on the record saying he wants to put as many socialists in power so he can seize the means of production.
I guess what stands out to me here isn't just the language, it's the escalation. Mamdani isn't framed as someone you might disagree with. He's labeled as dangerous, deceptive, even communist. This leap, using socialist and communist interchangeably, adds emotional weight. But the terms mean very different things. Socialism usually refers to government involvement in basic things like housing or healthcare. Communism is about abolishing private ownership entirely. So when a commentator jumps straight to seize the means of productions, it's not a policy critique. It's a signal from them. They're saying, be afraid of this person.
You know, I think that Mamdani has gotten every vote he's going to get, but that can be enough in the general, as we saw in Bill de Blasio's second term. So you can't just say, okay, well, you know, now we're going into the general, it's going to be different. Those very committed voters, as you say, are the ones who can put him over the top.
This clip focuses less on Mamdani's ideas and more on the urgency of defeating him. Phrases like, he's already gotten every vote he's going to get. These don't just describe polling, they're shaping the perception that his support is fixed, that it's fringe, that it's not worth engaging with. The fear here isn't just about losing the race, it's about the possibility that Mamdani's ideas might continue to resonate. This reads to me like, instead of asking why Mamdani's platform connects with some voters, they're putting this focus on stopping the momentum before it builds.
They did not hear someone who changed his policies. And so if you had concerns about his economic policies going into the meeting, you had the same concerns going out. For some people, the charm and his disarming nature was enough to calm people a little bit. For others, the fact that he was very much sticking to his policies further enraged them. So there's a bit of a division coming out of the room in terms of response. But in the room, it was mostly cordial.
So MSNBC's approach here is notably different. Instead of alarm or outrage, we hear a description of Mamdani that emphasizes personality and presence. He's described as charming and well prepared, someone who made self-deprecating jokes and engaged the room. That kind of framing softens the viewer's first impression. His policies are still presented as controversial, but the emotional tone is more measured. This is an example of pathos. That's a rhetorical appeal to emotion. So not the fear or anger we heard earlier, but warmth and curiosity and a sense of safety. In rhetoric, there are three classic appeals. So there's pathos, which is emotion, logos, which is logic, and ethos, which is like your credibility. This moment leans into emotional connection. They're not persuading through facts. They're not persuading through credentials. They're using tone and relatability. It's inviting the viewers to sit with complexity. They're showing him as the candidate who doesn't back down, but who's still open to dialogue.
He will tell people not to say it again, but you've got to say it's not right. It's not right to talk about things or say things that is morally wrong. So I think that he will, in many ways, not give up what he believes, but then he has to be judged by what he believes, and I think he's willing to take the penalty for that. He will tell people not to say it again, but you've got to say it's not right. It's not right to talk about things or say things that is morally wrong.
In this clip, Reverend Al Sharpton introduces a different kind of framing, one rooted in moral appeal rather than political strategy. He's urging Mamdani not to just distance himself from this controversial slogan, but to say clearly that it's wrong. He's giving us an example here of moral framing. He's putting emphasis on what's right or wrong, not just what's popular or strategic. But the exchange doesn't turn hostile. Sharpton challenges him, but the goal is growth, not condemnation. That's constructive critique, a way to hold someone accountable without erasing their legitimacy. He's saying that Mamdani doesn't completely concede, but he responds seriously. And that positions him as a politician, not trying to avoid blame, but someone who's willing to take criticism without abandoning his beliefs. The emotional tone here is serious, not combative. And it to me, it signals a kind of respect for the issue and for the viewer. Once again, what we're seeing isn't just a difference in political opinion, it's a difference in emotional framing. Fox centers fear and urgency. MSNBC leans into warmth and complexity. And this isn't new. We've seen this kind of emotional contrast or a similar kind in every episode so far, whether the topic was war, disaster, protests, politics, whatever. So starting next week, what I want to do is step back and break down some of the tools behind that emotional framing, like what I mentioned earlier, the classic appeals of pathos, logos, and ethos. So from there, we'll start building out the rest of the media literacy toolkit, how to recognize propaganda techniques, logical fallacies, and I'd really like to go into how the algorithms affect what we see as well. Because I really think that the better we understand these strategies, the harder it is to be manipulated by them, and the easier it becomes to talk about them with other people. So like and subscribe, stick around, and we'll see you next time.